In the oldest D&D lore, before adventurers walked the Forgotten Realms, before kingdoms rose and fell, there was Tiamat, the primordial dragon goddess of chaos. She birthed countless draconic horrors into the world, her essence woven into the very fabric of dragonkind itself. But Tiamat's influence did not end with her imprisonment in the Nine Hells. What remains of her power, her hunger, her ancient malice, lives on in the chromatic dragons, the reds that burn with ambition, the blues that crackle with lightning, the greens that scheme in shadow, the blacks that lurk in swamps of ruin, and the whites that embody pure primal fury. Each one carries a piece of Tiamat's legacy, a shard of her dominion over draconic destruction. In this video, we're diving into the chromatic dragons themselves, their powers, their personalities, their lairs, and the devastating impact they have on the world of D&D. Venture deep into the swamps and moors where civilization fears to tread. Here, where sulfurous mists curl across poisoned waters, dwells one of the most cunning and malicious forces in all the realms, the Black Dragon. Born from the essence of acid and decay, black dragons are destroyers of worlds. Their scales, dark as midnight, shimmer with an otherworldly iridescence, each one a razor-sharp plating forged in elemental fury. Their eyes burn with ancient intelligence and pure, unbridled rage. These creatures are the typhoons of the swamp, the plague upon the land. Like all true dragons, the black dragon accumulates wealth, but not for greed alone. Each coin, each jewel, each artifact serves as a trophy of conquest. They nest atop mountains of treasure, surrounded by the remnants of those foolish enough to challenge them. Sunken ships, corroded weapons, melted armor, all bear witness to the dragon's supremacy. Beware their breath weapon, a torrent of caustic acid that melts flesh, dissolves bone, and corrodes even the mightiest armor. But acid is only the beginning. These dragons are calculating predators. They poison their lairs with noxious gas, setting traps within traps. They strike from above, from below, from the very waters they command. In their domain, you are not the hunter, you are the prey. What makes the black dragon truly terrifying is not merely its raw power, but its cunning. These beings are architects of destruction. They manipulate lesser creatures as puppets. They forge alliances with dark cults and twisted sorcerers. They remember every slight, every failed attack, every hero who dared oppose them. Centuries may pass, but a black dragon never forgets, and it always returns for revenge. If you find yourself face to face with a black dragon, know this: your steel will bend, your magic will falter, your courage will break. Victory is not won against such a beast. It is stolen from the jaws of death itself. And even then, the cost may be far greater than you ever imagined. In the frozen wasteland beyond the reach of civilization, where eternal winter grips the land and blizzards rage without mercy, dwells a creature of pure primal fury, the White Dragon. The smallest of the true dragons, yet no less deadly, no less fierce. These are not the scheming masterminds that lurk in shadow. White dragons are feral beasts, driven by base instinct and untempered rage. Their scales glimmer like fresh snow, harder than tempered steel, and their breath, a torrent of freezing cold that crystallizes blood in veins and turns flesh to brittle ice. Unlike their chromatic kin who hoard gold and artifacts, white dragons collect only what survives in their frozen realm: bones of ancient beasts, the armor of fallen warriors now crusted with frost, and anything else that catches their predatory eye. They do not build empires or manipulate kingdoms. They hunt. They consume. They exist in a state of constant, savage hunger. These dragons are territorial beyond measure. They dominate everything within their domain. Hundreds of miles of bleak, unforgiving landscape. A white dragon will slaughter entire settlements, not for conquest, but simply because those settlements exist within what it considers its hunting ground. There is no negotiation with such a beast. There is only death, or fleeing before the winter winds. What makes the white dragon particularly terrifying is its unpredictability. They are cunning enough to set ambushes, intelligent enough to recognize patterns and weakness in their prey, but they lack the patience of older dragons, the strategic depth. A white dragon acts on impulse. It attacks with devastating force and no regard for its own safety. To fight one is to face an avalanche of tooth, claw, and ice, a force of nature given form and hunger. And in the frozen dark, where no help will come, where the temperature drops until hope itself freezes solid, the white dragon reigns supreme. Not as a king upon a throne, but as the apex predator in a world that belongs entirely to it. The green dragon is patient, methodical. It does not rage like its white cousins, nor does it simply accumulate wealth like the red. No, the green dragon builds something far more insidious than either. It builds influence. It weaves itself into the very fabric of civilization and corrupts it from within. These creatures are masters of manipulation, born with an intellect sharp as obsidian and a gift for deception that rivals the greatest sorcerers. A green dragon speaks in riddles and honeyed words. It offers deals that seem fair until you realize you've already lost. It plants seeds of doubt in the minds of leaders, turns allies into enemies, and watches kingdoms tear themselves apart for its amusement. The poison that drips from a green dragon's fangs is not merely venom, it is a tool of domination. Those infected become thralls, their wills bent to the dragon's desires. Entire villages have fallen under the sway of a single green dragon, their people willingly serving their serpentine overlord, believing they do so of their own free choice. The dragon feeds on their loyalty, their fear, their despair. You will find a green dragon's lair deep within ancient forests, in places where civilization once thrived, but now exists in twisted servitude. Cultists and corrupted warriors guard its approach. Traps of cunning design await the unwary, and at the heart of it all sits the dragon itself, draped in dark magic and centuries of accumulated knowledge, scheming on a scale that mortal minds struggle to comprehend. The true horror of the green dragon is this. It may have already claimed you. You might be walking through its web right now, believing your own thoughts to be your own. By the time you realize you're trapped, by the time you understand the scope of its manipulation, you are already beyond saving. The green dragon does not need to breathe acid or hoard gold. It simply needs you to surrender your will, and it is always patient enough to wait. The blue dragon is power incarnate, dominion made flesh. These are creatures of terrible majesty, commanding the very sky itself, drawing lightning from the heavens as naturally as you draw breath. Proud, arrogant. The blue dragon sees itself as nobility among dragons, the chosen of the world order. It does not merely rule, it lords over all beneath it with an iron claw and an absolute conviction in its own supremacy. Kingdoms rise and fall at its whim. Armies crumble before its wrath. And it considers all of this perfectly natural, the way the world is meant to function. Where a blue dragon establishes its domain, lightning becomes a tool of enforcement. Those who disobey the dragon's will are struck down from the sky. Those who show proper deference are spared. This is the only justice that matters in blue dragon territory, the justice of the dragon itself. And the dragon is always right. These creatures are not content to lurk in shadow or corrupt from the margins. A blue dragon wants to be seen. It wants to be feared. It builds its lairs in the most prominent locations, atop mountains, in shattered ruins of conquered cities, places where all can witness its terrible glory. It collects tribute, not gold, but acknowledgement, statues carved in its image, prayers spoken in its name, the knowledge that every living thing within its reach exists only because the dragon allows it. A blue dragon's hoard is a monument to its supremacy, artifacts of legendary power, stolen from heroes and gods alike. Treasures accumulated across centuries, each one a testament to conquest and dominion. But the greatest treasure is always the same, the absolute certainty that nothing can challenge it. That resistance is not merely futile, but laughably presumptuous. Betray a blue dragon, and it will hunt you across continents. Oppose it, and it will ensure your entire lineage is erased from history. The blue dragon does not forgive. It does not forget. It simply waits for the moment to demonstrate why defiance against divinity itself is the final mistake you'll ever make. The red dragon is hunger given wings, greed made manifest. This is ambition without restraint, desire without mercy, the ultimate expression of draconic villainy in its purest form. A red dragon does not simply want power, it wants everything. Every coin, every jewel, every scrap of magic in the world should belong to it, and the fact that it doesn't is an affront that burns hotter than the flames it breathes. This is not pride like the blue dragon's measured arrogance. This is all-consuming obsession. A red dragon would burn the world to ash if it meant adding one more gold piece to its hoard. These are the most intelligent of the chromatic dragons, and they use that brilliance entirely in service of their endless appetite. A red dragon builds networks of servitors and cult followers not through manipulation like the green, but through sheer terror and the promise of wealth beyond imagining. Serve the dragon, and you might live long enough to spend gold. Disobey, and you become fuel for its flame. A red dragon's lair is a fortress, a cathedral of greed. Mountains of treasure rise from cavern floors, more wealth than kingdoms possess, and the dragon coils atop it all like a serpent upon a throne of gold. It swims in its hoard. It sleeps upon centuries of accumulated plunder. Every coin is cataloged, every artifact is accounted for. A single piece of copper missing would send the dragon into a rage that levels mountains. The red dragon's flame is not merely a weapon, it is an expression of its nature, hot enough to melt stone, hot enough to vaporize armies, and the dragon breathes it with the casual certainty of someone adding kindling to a fire they have no intention of ever letting die. What makes the red dragon truly catastrophic is the scope of its ambition. Where a blue dragon rules a region, a red dragon schemes to rule the world. Where a green dragon corrupts a kingdom, a red dragon wants to own it, command it, drain it of every last resource until nothing remains but ash and memory. And then it will move on to the next conquest, forever unsatisfied, forever burning, forever hungry. A red dragon does not negotiate. It does not play games of political intrigue. It takes what it wants, and if you resist, it burns you and takes it anyway. Simple, direct, absolute.